Hannah here. I'm Min.
Joseph Conrad.
Miranda.
And Christopher.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Conrad, how important is the light and darkness theme in this movie? When I first read the title, the word darkness seems so striking.
Light and darkness theme is one of the most important factors of the movie. This theme shows my idea regarding the European civilization and colonialism, and is a device to make up the physical environments where the story takes place in. That's why it's important.
Watching the part when characters first appear, I was so impressed that the scene can be composed of two factors, like presence of light and absence of light. It sometimes looks like black and white movie. Then, I would like to ask Miranda a question. Miranda, like you described London City as in brooding gloom. Then it seems like you intended to show that London, the symbol of European civilization, actually represents something dark. What do you think of this part? Did the first perspective narrator think so?
Huh? Not at all. My character was not intended to show that European civilization is that of darkness. British Empire was the result of gloriously boomed civilization, and it enabled numerous heroes to spread throughout the world. At that time, I believed that the civilization enlightened uncivilized parts of the world, such as African continent, which is devoid of culture and light. I described London as dark only because the time setting and the atmosphere of the place made London seem so.
Well, actually, it was my intention to make London seem gloomy, as Miranda said. The gloom became more somber every minute, as if angered by the approach of the sun. This part shows my idea regarding the light and darkness.
Wait, I think you intended a unique concept of light and darkness, right? Traditionally, as shown in the concept of yin and yang, for example, like light represents the pure goodness and the darkness represents the opposite. So when people describe the light expels out the darkness, but however, that part sounds a lot different.
You pointed out well. In this film, I try to show that actually, the presence of light makes dark become darker, intensifying the darkness. This idea will later be applied to the part where Morrow begins his journey deep inside Africa, the continent of darkness, due to inhumane exploitation and treatments that European colonists, who have first held the torch of civilization, convict in the region. The continent will get darkened.
His idea is also shown through my perspective. Morrow also believes that the light intensifies the darkness. As European colonialists encroached, a once white patch of Africa continent had become a place of darkness. The Congo River, the one that had not yet been darkened by the Europeans, is the setting of my journey. Resembling an immense snake uncoiled, the river fascinated me like a snake would a bird. At last, however, I darkened that place.
You mean you darkened that place? Always sounds like you're a bad guy that contaminates the land of pureness.
Kinda. I found the darkness that resides inside of man, especially European colonialists who systematically enslaved millions of black people as well as exploited their resources. I found those civilized people nothing different from savage, uncivilized people. Throughout the experience in Africa, I could realize the dark side of European colonialism, which most of British people find helpful and useful to African people.
We should talk about it more deeply later. Furthermore, your answer reminds me you describing the experience that it throws a light on everything about me and into my thoughts.
Throughout the movie, I tell other seamen my experience in order to explain the enlightenment I had there. Since it threw a kind of light on my thought and my perspective, I believe that it would be able to enlighten the seamen who superficially glorified the European civilization and colonialism.
It makes me curious whether light and darkness theme also makes up the image of Africa continent. I remember that the jungle was depicted as dark, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, you're quite right there. I described so in order to have two effects. First of all, the darkness of Congo River is literally absence of light. Because the river, the deepest part of Africa, was not yet explored by the colonizers, it had some kind of ominous atmosphere. Since my light could not penetrate the heavily canopied jungle, it was so dark inside. Doesn't it look so ominous? Moreover, it also has kind of a metaphorical meaning. Dark continent is a long discredited notion of Africa as devoid of culture and of civilization.
I think that device worked well. Oh, I remember your first appearance in the movie. I really liked it. Would you please show us one more time?
Okay. And this also has been one of the dark places of the earth. Looking at London covered with the veil of brooding gloom, I began to tell other seamen that though London City is at the apex of civilization, it was once the place of darkness, just as Africa is the continent of darkness today. There exists the darkness at the core of the shining civilization, a beginning of the civilization of the era, London.
Oh, you have an opinion regarding the brooding gloom in London and things different from that of the first perspective narrator. And furthermore, I was also impressed when you continue your idea of London civilization, explaining how the Roman Empire and how the Roman people considered London in the burial times. Would you please explain more in details? 미안해. 내가 이거 안 넘겨줬어.
I tried to criticize other seamen's optimistic view that London would be permanently glorious, luminous beginning of the world of civilization, at the apex of light. However, I believe that as once the most powerful Roman Empire disappeared one day, the Britain Empire would pass away someday too. Civilization is not a long-lasting one. It will later flicker and go away, as all civilizations have done ever before. Furthermore, I wanted them to realize that as the British people view Africa as dark, Roman people also saw England as dark at that time.
Great. Then let's move on to the other place. How of the company? You described that two women that needed black wool were guarding the door of darkness.
That door was kind of the entrance to dark colonialism. It symbolizes a door that leads the schemes and bureaucracy of an empire that holds the fate of millions in its hand. That scene and two knitting women has a great significance to me.
Oh, really? We must talk about it more later. Good.